Chosen ones, breathe for a moment and let these words sink into the deepest chamber of your being, because what you are about to hear is not an ordinary message. This is a turning point disguised as a whisper, a revelation wrapped in quiet certainty, a calling meant only for those whose souls are awake enough to recognize it. It is never by coincidence. There is no coincidence. There is only timing the universe has been arranging long before you realized something in your life was shifting. Chosen ones, listen carefully. This is a message that many people will ignore, and it will become one of the greatest regrets they carry in the unseen corners of their lives. Do not become one of them. Do not close this. Do not skip a second, because once this doorway closes, it will not open the same way again. And anyone who dares to walk away from this moment will spend a long time wondering why their life continued to repeat the same patterns without breakthrough, without clarity, without elevation. You must understand something powerful. This message is not here to entertain you. It is here to awaken something ancient inside you. Something that has been silent for too long, something that has been waiting for the exact vibration, the exact alignment, the exact moment when you would finally be ready to hear the truth behind the illusions people projected onto you. Before we go deeper, chosen ones, make sure you do this now. Like this message, subscribe, activate the notification bell, and comment the word 77 as your declaration to the universe. That comment is not random. It is an energetic signal, a mark of readiness, a silent agreement between your soul and the unseen forces that have guided you through storms you did not even realize were meant to strengthen you. When you comment 77, you are telling the universe, with full clarity, that you are ready to receive the next unfolding of your destiny. Chosen ones, many people looked at your life and thought they understood your story. They thought you were alone, simply because they could not see the hands that held you, the shields that covered you, or the wisdom that whispered to you in the quiet moments when the world believed you were breaking. They thought you were unsupported, underestimated, undefended. They only saw the surface, and they made conclusions based on fragments. But this message exists to show you the larger picture. And if you dare to stop watching even for a breath, you will miss the revelation that would have rewritten the way you walk through your battles. You will miss the clarity that could have prevented countless disappointments. You will miss the insight that could have changed how you interpret every betrayal, every rejection, every moment when someone underestimated you. That is why you cannot afford to leave. That is why this moment demands your full presence. That is why this video must be absorbed completely, without interruption, without hesitation. Chosen ones, there is a reason this message feels heavy, sacred, and electrifying at the same time. You are not here by accident. You are here because life has been preparing you to understand one of the most important truths you will ever hear. The world misjudged you because they never saw the full design of your destiny. They never saw the invisible protection, the unseen orchestration, the divine architecture shaping every step you took. And if you dare walk away from this message, you will walk away from a truth that could have saved you years of confusion. You will walk away from the empowerment you desperately needed, but never received. You will walk away from the understanding that could have altered the entire direction of your future. That is why this video cannot be skipped. That is why this opportunity cannot be taken lightly. Chosen ones, stay. Listen. Let these words enter the deepest part of you. You are about to learn why being underestimated was never a punishment. It was a setup. a silent preparation for the moment when the universe reveals what has always been standing behind you. This is the revelation they never saw coming, and this is the revelation you must not miss. Part 1. The moment they misjudged you. Chosen ones, there comes a moment in every soul's journey when the world makes the greatest miscalculation of all. It is not when they disagree with you. It is not when they compete with you. It is when they believe they have already understood your destiny simply by watching your present moment. They look at the surface of your life, at the quiet way you move, at the solitude that wraps around your path, and they assume they know your strength. They assume they know your limits. They assume they know your story. But chosen ones, the world has always misunderstood what is quiet. They forget that storms begin in silence. They forget that seeds grow where no one can see them. They forget that some of the most powerful transformations happen far below the surface, in depths where no eye can witness the making of greatness. And because they do not understand this, they misjudge you from the beginning. They saw you walking without noise, and they thought you were weak. They saw you standing without a crowd around you, and they thought you were alone. They saw you choosing peace instead of confrontation, and they assumed you had surrendered. They saw you listening instead of shouting, observing instead of reacting, holding your heart steady instead of rushing to defend yourself. And from these fragments, they built a false image of who you are. What they never realized is that solitude is not abandonment. It is refinement. It is the quiet forge where endurance is shaped and clarity is sharpened. You were never walking alone. Your path was simply too sacred for everyone to follow. The universe removes noise so that destiny can speak, and in those quieter seasons, while people whispered assumptions about your life, something powerful was forming around you, something they could not perceive. Chosen ones, people often fail to see beyond the physical world. They measure strength by how loud someone appears, how many allies they have, how many victories they display openly. But your strength was never built in public. It was carved in the unseen places where you faced battles no one knew you carried, where you overcame fears that would have crushed others, where you rebuilt yourself without applause, without validation, without witnesses. This is why their judgment of you was so flawed. They were comparing your inner world to their outer expectations. They were evaluating your silence without understanding its purpose. They were interpreting your journey through a lens too small to comprehend the magnitude of your becoming. Chosen ones, every time they underestimated you, the universe took note. Every time they doubted you, the universe added another layer of strength within you. Every time they assumed you were powerless, life quietly aligned opportunities, protections and breakthroughs that would one day prove how wrong they were. They thought you had nothing because they could not see what was preparing itself behind the curtain of your life. And perhaps the deepest irony is this: the very moments when they believed you were the easiest to break were the moments when you were closest to your transformation. They saw exhaustion, but the universe saw elevation. They saw isolation, but the universe saw incubation. They saw endings, but the universe saw the beginning of an entirely new chapter that would redefine everything. Chosen ones, the world misjudged you because they only saw the chapter you were living, not the story you were destined to reveal. They saw a single scene, not the entire narrative. They saw your stillness, not the forces gathering behind you. They saw temporary circumstances, not the lifelong design of your purpose. Their greatest mistake was believing you were ordinary simply because your greatness had not yet unfolded publicly. But what they forgot is that every chosen soul has a moment when the unseen becomes undeniable, when the quiet rises into undeniable strength, when the misunderstood path finally reveals its divine architecture. And that moment is approaching you with precision. Part 2. The silence that they mistook for weakness. Chosen ones, there is a profound misunderstanding that follows every soul, marked for a greater path. When your spirit chooses silence over chaos, reflection over reaction, depth over noise, people often misinterpret this as fragility. They see your calm and assume you have no fire. They see your restraint and assume you have no power. They see your gentle way of moving through the world and imagine you can be pushed, bent, or shaped according to their expectations. But silence has never been a sign of weakness. Silence is the language of those who know their strength too well to waste it. Silence is the armor of those who refuse to give their energy to battles that do not align with their purpose. Silence is the quiet confidence of someone who trusts the universe more than they trust temporary appearances. Chosen ones, the world has a habit of misunderstanding those who choose inner peace. People believe that strength must always roar, but they forget that even mountains stand in complete stillness. They believe that power must always be loud, but they forget that the deepest oceans make no sound. They believe that influence must always be visible, but they forget that the wind, despite being unseen, can shape entire landscapes. Your silence frightened them, though they would never admit it. Your calm disturbed their illusions. Your refusal to react made them restless, because somewhere beneath their assumptions, they sensed a truth they could not articulate, that your stillness was not emptiness, but preparation, that your calm was not surrender but mastery, that your quiet steps were not signs of defeat, but signs of someone who had already learned how to rise without an audience. Chosen ones, when you remained silent while they provoked you, they mistook it for fear. What they didn't know was that you were conserving energy for victories that required your full presence. When you chose not to respond to their attempts to belittle you, they assumed you had no backbone. What they didn't know was that you were rising above the battles too small for your destiny. When you walked away from people who tried to dim your light, they convinced themselves you were intimidated. What they didn't know was that you refused to negotiate your worth just to make others comfortable. There is extraordinary strength in choosing peace. There is extraordinary courage in choosing silence when chaos tries to pull you in. There is extraordinary wisdom in knowing that your reaction is not owed to everyone who demands it. Chosen ones, the universe has always worked strongest through those who understand the sacredness of quiet moments. While others chase validation, you built conviction. While others sought attention, you cultivated alignment. While others tried to impress the world, you focused on impressing your destiny. This is why the world misread you. They judged your quiet season without understanding its meaning. They thought your stillness meant you were stuck. They thought your patience meant you lacked direction. They thought your soft heart meant you could be broken. But chosen ones, patience is not passivity. It is preparation. It is strength disguised in grace. It is wisdom wrapped in restraint. Your ability to remain calm in the middle of storms is not an accident. It is evidence of an inner foundation that cannot be shaken by human misunderstanding. And this is precisely why your journey is different. You are not guided by noise. You are not shaped by opinions. You are not driven by the world's hurried pace. You move with intention. You listen deeply. You wait for alignment, not approval. And one day, chosen ones, the very people who mistook your silence for weakness, will witness the unfolding of a strength so undeniable that it will rewrite every assumption they ever made about you. They will see that your quiet was never the absence of power, but the birthplace of it. Because the universe does not raise chosen souls in chaos. It raises them in stillness. Part 3. The unseen forces that stood with you all along. Chosen ones, every soul marked for a higher path, eventually discovers a truth that most people never understand. Not everything that protects you is visible, and not everything that guides you reveals itself at the beginning of your journey. People looked at your life and assumed you were navigating the world alone, that you were unsupported, unprotected, unnoticed. They believed that silence around you meant absence. They believed that your path was empty simply because it wasn't crowded. But chosen ones, where emptiness and loneliness are not the same. What they perceived as lack was actually the universe clearing space for your alignment. There were countless moments when you felt something shift around you without explanation. Opportunities that appeared just when you needed them. Dangers that dissolved before reaching you. Paths that opened after seasons of drought. You may not have always recognized it, but you were never moving through life without guidance. There were forces beyond sight, energies beyond comprehension, and timing beyond human understanding that constantly shaped the landscape of your journey. People judged what they could see. They never imagined the magnitude of what existed behind the scenes. Chosen ones, there were times when your heart felt heavy, yet somehow you found the strength to keep going. There were moments when the weight of life seemed too much to bear, yet an unseen reassurance touched you, convincing you to take one more step. There were nights when you questioned everything, but something soft and unspoken whispered that your story wasn't finished. That whisper, that resilience, that ability to rise again was not an accident. It was evidence of the invisible support surrounding you. Those who underestimated you believed you were fragile because they saw only the external battles. They never saw the internal victories. They saw the tears, but not the courage it took to wipe them away. They saw the setbacks, but not the determination that refused to let you remain broken. They saw the quietness of your journey, but not the countless protections activated on your behalf. Chosen ones, the universe has always walked beside those who carry purpose, even when the world remains blind to it. You were shielded from people who would have destroyed your spirit before you realized their intentions. You were redirected away from paths that would have drained your potential before you reached your breakthroughs. You were saved from rooms where your presence would have been exploited, where your kindness would have been used, where your destiny would have been delayed. And while others thought you were merely wandering, you were actually being positioned. Your isolation was guidance. Your delays were protection. Your redirections were divine design. Your survival was testimony. The people who misjudged your journey believed that everything happening to you was random. They never understood how every step, every pause, every ending, and every beginning was part of a larger orchestration they could not see. They mocked your stillness because they did not know what was forming beyond their perception. They thought you lacked allies, but the universe had aligned with you in ways no human presence could ever match. Chosen ones, when you felt like giving up, the universe strengthened you. When you felt overlooked, the universe was preparing a place where you could not be ignored. When you were pushed aside, the universe was clearing a lane for you to rise in ways that would leave those who doubted you speechless. The unseen forces around you did not need recognition to be powerful. They did not need to announce themselves to be effective. They did not need applause or acknowledgement to alter the course of your life. Their only purpose was to guide you toward the life that was always meant for you. And this is why those who thought you were alone made the greatest mistake. They saw the empty seats around you and assumed you were unprotected. They did not realize the universe itself had taken those seats. They saw the lack of voices cheering for you and assumed you had no support. They did not realize the universe was preparing to echo through your victories louder than any crowd ever could. Chosen ones, you were never unguarded. You were never unsupported. You were never unseen. The forces that walked with you were simply beyond the reach of ordinary perception. And those forces are the reason why you survived what was meant to destroy you, overcame what was meant to break you, and continued rising when others expected you to fall. They never saw the full picture, but the universe always did. And that is why your story is far from finished. Part 4. The time that reveals what they could never see. Chosen ones, there is one force in this world that answers every doubt, silences every assumption, and exposes every hidden truth. And that force is time. Time as a way of peeling back illusions, lifting veils, and bringing to light what was once misunderstood. And it is through time that the false conclusions people made about you will unravel before their own eyes. They believed your quiet season defined your entire destiny. They believed your temporary struggles were permanent conditions. They believed your patience was a sign that nothing powerful was preparing itself inside you. But they forgot that time does not reveal everything at once. Time reveals what is real when the moment is right. Chosen ones, for so long, the world has tried to define you based on a single moment of your journey. They looked at one chapter and assumed it was the entire story. They saw one setback and assumed it represented your ceiling. They saw a pause in your progress and assumed it was the end. But the truth is that your life was never meant to fit into the narrow lens through which they viewed you. Time was protecting the later chapters of your life from being misinterpreted by people who lack the vision to understand your purpose. Time has been shaping you quietly. Time has been maturing your strength. Time has been sharpening your discernment. Time has been aligning opportunities that required patience, not panic. Time has been preparing the stage that your destiny will eventually rise upon. Chosen ones, there were seasons when you felt delayed, but those delays were not punishment. They were precision. You were being refined, not restricted. You were being readied, not rejected. You were being positioned, not pushed aside. The world around you saw stagnation, but the universe saw preparation. Time was working on the pieces that needed to move before your elevation could unfold, without interference. This is why those who misjudged you will find themselves stunned by the truth. Time reveals. They believed they understood your limits, but time will show them how limitless you truly are. They believed your silence meant you had no voice, but time will reveal the magnitude of what you were destined to speak into the world. They believed your stillness meant you had no direction, but time will expose the depth of the path you were quietly mastering. Chosen ones, time is not your enemy. Time is your witness. Time watched you endure storms that should have broken you. Time watched you walk away from people who tried to diminish your worth. Time watched you choose growth over comfort. Time watched you evolve when no one was looking. And because time witnessed all of this, time will not allow your transformation to go unrecognized. There will come a moment, shaped by time and guided by destiny, when everything that was hidden about you will become undeniable. Your strength will become visible in ways that even your critics cannot deny. Your resilience will manifest in results that cannot be explained away. Your growth will leave people speechless, because it will become clear that you were never the person they assumed you were. They will realize that the quiet chapters were necessary. They will realize that your solitude was part of your becoming. They will realize that the struggles they mocked were the same struggles that sculpted your greatness. They will realize that your patience was not weakness but wisdom. Chosen ones, time has been weaving your story with a complexity and beauty that no human judgment could ever capture. Every hour of waiting, every moment of confusion, every silent battle you fought has been woven into a narrative far larger than what your doubters ever imagined. The very people who thought they had your life figured out will one day face the astonishing truth that they only saw a fraction of you, an unfinished page, a single note in a much larger symphony. And when that moment arrives, it will not come with noise or chaos, but with the quiet certainty of destiny fulfilling itself. Time will bring everything into alignment. Time will reveal the purpose behind every hardship. Time will vindicate you in ways that words never could. For now, chosen ones, trust the unfolding. Trust the timing that has never failed you. Trust that everything you have endured is carrying you to a season where the world will finally see what the universe has seen in you all along. Because time does not lie. And time will show them exactly who you were becoming while they were misjudging who you were. Part 5. The quiet work of destiny they never paid attention to. Chosen ones, one of the most extraordinary truths about your journey is that the most powerful transformations in your life happened quietly, far beneath the surface where no one was watching. People often expect greatness to arrive with noise, applause and spectacle. They believe that progress must announce itself with obvious signs, but destiny rarely works that way. Destiny prefers silence. Destiny prefers depth. Destiny prefers the hidden places where distractions cannot interfere and where your spirit can be reshaped without interruption. This is why those who misjudged you failed to understand who you were becoming. They were looking for evidence of change in the wrong places. They were waiting for outward signs, not realizing that the most meaningful growth is often invisible until its time has come. They didn't see the way your heart hardened and softened in all the right places. They didn't see the strength you built while healing wounds that no one acknowledged. They didn't see the courage you forged each time you chose to rise instead of surrender. Chosen ones, quiet seasons are not empty seasons. They are construction seasons. This is where identity is rebuilt. This is where clarity sharpens. This is where endurance strengthens. This is where purpose begins to take shape. While others assumed nothing was happening in your life, everything was happening. You were learning how to stand without external validation. You were learning how to see through illusions that once deceived you. You were learning how to separate genuine souls from those who only desired your energy. You were learning how to move slowly, intentionally, and with the wisdom needed for the next level of your journey. People overlooked you because they saw stillness, but they didn't see the soil beneath your feet being prepared for new growth. They saw the outer shell of your life but missed the roots digging deeper. They saw pauses but not the preparation. They saw endings but not the restructuring of new beginnings that were waiting to emerge. Chosen ones, destiny often hides its greatest work because visibility invites interference. If people had seen what the universe was building inside you, they might have tried to sabotage it, question it, or pull you away from it. That is why so much of your transformation happened in silence, because it needed protection, because it needed space, because it needed time to stabilize before the world could witness it. You may not have realized it then, but every challenge that came your way was shaping something inside you. Every disappointment trained your resilience. Every betrayal sharpened your intuition. Every delay strengthened your patience. Every loss expanded your capacity to rise. These were not random events. They were carved into your timeline with purpose. They were preparing you for breakthroughs far greater than what you could understand in the moment. while others stared at the surface and judged your progress. Destiny was moving pieces behind the scenes, aligning opportunities, removing harmful influences, and positioning you for a future too big for their limited expectations. Those who underestimated you thought your journey lacked motion. They thought your life was stagnant because they could not perceive the silent construction happening within you. They thought you had reached your limit because they didn't see the layers of strength forming beneath your skin. They thought you were done, but destiny was only beginning. Chosen ones, there is a reason the universe trusts you with quiet seasons, because you are someone who can grow without being seen. You are someone who does not need applause to stay committed. You are someone who remains loyal to your purpose, even when no one understands it. You are someone who can be molded in the dark and still rise into the light with dignity and purpose. And this is why your transformation will be so surprising to those who doubted you. They never saw the sacrifices you made. They never saw the nights you spent rebuilding yourself. They never saw the inner battles that strengthened your soul. They never saw the quiet prayers of your heart, the hopes you held on to, or the moments when you chose belief over despair. But destiny saw everything, and destiny never forgets effort. So when your rise becomes visible, when the quiet work finally takes shape in undeniable form, every assumption they ever held about you will collapse. They will wonder how you grew so quickly, not realizing you were growing all along. They will wonder how you became so strong, not realizing your strength was forged in the depths that they never respected. They will wonder why the universe favors you, not realizing it favored you because you stayed faithful during the seasons when no one was watching. Chosen ones, your quiet work was never wasted. It was the foundation of everything that is coming. Part 6. The realization that arrives too late for those who underestimated you. Chosen ones, there comes a moment in every great story when truth rises with a force so undeniable that even those who once doubted must face it. This moment does not arrive with noise or theatrics. It arrives quietly but with the power of inevitability. It arrives when the universe decides that the time for misunderstanding has ended and the time for revelation has begun. And when that moment comes, those who underestimated you will feel it deeply, because they will realize that they were wrong about you at the very moment when their opinions no longer matter. For so long, people judged you through the lens of their own limitations. They believed your hardships defined your ceiling. They believed your silence meant surrender. They believed your patience meant powerlessness. They believed their assumptions had the authority to dictate your destiny. But chosen ones, destiny does not bow to human perception. Destiny does not shrink just because someone could not see your potential. Destiny does not disappear simply because the world labeled you incorrectly. The truth is this: they misjudged you at the worst possible moment for them, because they misjudged you right before your rise. Chosen ones, the universe has a way of allowing people to walk confidently in their assumptions, only to watch those assumptions crumble when the truth appears. It is not done out of vengeance but out of alignment. Those who misread your path were never meant to understand your purpose. Those who mocked your silence were never meant to witness your preparation. Those who tried to diminish you were never meant to stand beside you in your elevation. But they will see it. They will see everything. And when they do, the realization will come with a weight they cannot escape. They will recall every moment they dismissed you, not knowing you were gathering strength. They will recall every word they used to belittle you, not knowing those words became fuel for your transformation. They will recall every time they overlooked your presence, not knowing the universe was preparing you to step into a space where you could no longer be ignored. Chosen ones, understand this deeply. Your rise is not meant to embarrass those who doubted you. Your rise is meant to reveal the truth about who you have always been. It is meant to show that you were never the person they thought you were. It is meant to show that your potential was never dependent on their validation. It is meant to show that your destiny was unfolding even when they believed you had stopped moving. Those who underestimated you will eventually face the uncomfortable truth that their perception of you was far too small. They will see the strength you cultivated. They will see the wisdom you earned. They will see the resilience you crafted from every setback they thought would break you. They will see that your quiet seasons were not signs of weakness, but the foundation of your transformation. And the most profound realization they will have, the one that will echo in their minds long after your rise becomes evident, is this: they assumed you were alone, yet you were supported by forces they could never comprehend. They assumed you were lost, yet you were guided by a purpose they could never grasp. They assumed you were stuck, yet you were being prepared for expansion they could never predict. By the time they understand this, it will be too late for them to rewrite their part in your story. They had their chance to stand with you, believe in you, honor you, but they chose to misjudge you. They chose to overlook you. They chose to speak about you instead of learning from you. Chosen ones, their realization comes too late because it was never meant for your benefit. It was meant for their awakening. It was meant to teach them that appearances are misleading, that quiet souls often hold the greatest power, and that destiny is never shaped by those who doubt it. You were never fragile. You were never lost. You were never ordinary. You were becoming. And while they were busy misunderstanding you, you were busy evolving beyond everything they could imagine. Their late realization is not your burden. It is their lesson. Your only responsibility is to continue rising, continue growing, continue stepping into the version of yourself that time, endurance, and unseen forces have been shaping with extraordinary care. Because the truth they ignored is the truth. They will one day be unable to escape. They misjudged a chosen soul, and nothing carries a heavier consequence than that. Part 7. You were never alone, and now the universe begins to show why. Chosen ones, as your journey unfolds into its next chapter, there is a truth that rises with a quiet but undeniable certainty. You are never walking this path alone, even in your darkest moments, even in the heavy silence that made you question your own worth, even in the seasons where every step felt like you were carrying the weight of the world by yourself. There were forces aligning, guiding, and lifting you in ways no human eye could perceive. And now, the time has come for this hidden truth to reveal itself in your life with clarity that cannot be denied. For so long, people assumed they understood your story because they only saw the visible parts. They saw the times you walked without companionship. They saw the tears you did not hide. They saw the battles you fought in silence. And because they saw these fragments, they believed they were witnessing the entirety of your existence. But chosen ones, what they witnessed was only the surface, the thin layer of your journey that anyone could have seen. They never saw what stood behind you, beneath you, and within you. They did not see the strength the universe planted in your spirit long before the challenges arrived. They did not see the resilience you forged from experiences that would have shattered others. They did not see the unseen hands that lifted you when your knees were close to giving out. They did not see how your quiet hope carried you through nights when everything in your life felt uncertain. Chosen ones, you survived storms that people will never fully understand. Not because you had everything figured out, but because you were guided by something greater than your fear. Every time you thought you were reaching your breaking point, a new spark of strength rose inside you. Every time you thought you had no more energy left, A new breath found its way into your lungs. Every time you thought your path was collapsing, an invisible force carved a new way forward. This was not coincidence. This was not luck. This was the universe itself protecting what it had chosen. And now, the same universe that carried you through the shadows is preparing to bring you into the light of clarity, alignment, and elevation. Chosen ones, there is something profoundly beautiful about the path you have walked. You learned to trust, even when you could not see the next step. You learned to believe even when nothing around you confirmed your hope. You learned to stand, even when you were forced to stand alone. That level of faith, quiet, trembling, imperfect, but persistent, is what allowed your destiny to continue unfolding, even when everything seemed still. The people who misjudged you will come to realize something they never expected, that your strength did not come from human support but from the depth of your spirit, that your protection did not come from visible alliances, but from a higher orchestration they were never meant to understand, that your rise was not built by approval but by alignment. The very things they thought made you weak were the things that forged your greatness. Chosen ones, you are stepping into a season where the invisible will become visible. The protection that once worked in silence will begin to reveal its results. The guidance that once felt subtle will become undeniable. The alignment that once felt distant will begin to unfold with precision and timing that will leave you breathless. This is the season where you finally understand why certain people had to leave, why certain doors remained closed, why certain opportunities slipped through your fingers. It was never rejection. It was redirection. It was refinement. It was preparation for something that required you to be stronger, wiser, clearer, and more aligned with your purpose. And now, chosen ones, the universe begins to show you why the loneliness you felt was never true loneliness. It was sacred isolation. It was the womb of your transformation. It was the quiet space where your soul could expand without interference. While others believed you were abandoned, you were actually being repositioned. While others believed you had no support, the universe was gathering the exact energies and opportunities that would one day elevate you beyond anything they could imagine. You were never alone. You were being hidden, and now you are being revealed. The people who misjudged you will finally see the truth they refused to consider, that the one they thought was weakest was actually the one the universe was shaping for something extraordinary. They will see that the person they overlooked has become the person they cannot ignore. They will see that the destiny they dismissed has become the destiny that commands attention, respect, and awe. Chosen ones, step forward with your head lifted. Step forward knowing your path was never empty. Step forward knowing your spirit was never unsupported. Step forward knowing your journey was always guided by forces greater than misunderstanding. Because now the universe is ready to show the full picture. And when it does, every piece of your story will finally make sense. Closing. The moment your true story rises above every misjudgment. Chosen ones. As this message reaches its end, let your spirit absorb the weight of everything that has been spoken. Because every word in this journey, every truth revealed, every layer of your story unfolded here, was never meant to simply inspire you. It was meant to awaken you. It was meant to remind you of who you are beneath the misunderstandings, beneath the doubts, beneath the quiet seasons where you felt unseen. You must understand this deeply. Your life is entering a chapter where the universe will no longer allow people's limited perception to define you. The days when others could shape your identity with their careless opinions are over. The days when your silence made you appear small are gone. The days when your stillness was mistaken for weakness are ending with finality. Because what rises next is not a version of you shaped by the world. It is the version of you shaped by destiny itself. Chosen ones, take a moment and reflect on everything you have survived. Every hardship that tried to break you only strengthened your foundation. Every betrayal that shattered your trust only sharpened your intuition. Every moment of isolation taught you how to stand with a power rooted in your own spirit, not in the presence or approval of others. Nothing you lived through was wasted. Nothing you endured was meaningless. Every piece of your journey has been stitched together with intention far greater than you realized. And now, the universe is preparing to reveal what it has been constructing behind the scenes for so long. The clarity you begged for, the breakthroughs you worked toward, the alignment you waited for. These are not distant dreams. They are approaching with a quiet acceleration, one that even you will feel, but may not be able to fully describe. This is the moment before the unveiling. This is the breath before the breakthrough. This is the silence before the crescendo. Chosen ones, this is where everything begins to make sense. The people who doubted you will witness what patience produces. The people who ignored you will see what resilience creates. The people who misjudged you will face the truth they refused to consider. You were never the one who lacked power. They were the ones who lacked vision, and you must not carry resentment for them. Their misunderstanding was part of the design that shaped your independence, your clarity, your strength. Their doubt was the pressure that forged your evolution. Their absence was the space the universe needed to prepare your rise without interference. They taught you what it means to stand alone, and because of that, you are now ready to stand above. But this closing is not about them. This closing is about you. It is about the soul who kept walking even when no one believed in your steps. It is about the heart that kept hoping even when hope felt unreasonable. It is about the spirit that kept burning even when life tried to extinguish your fire. Chosen ones, hear this with every fiber of your being. Your story is about to shift into a direction that no misjudgment can touch. Your rise is about to unfold in a way that silence cannot hide. Your strength is about to speak louder than any voice that ever tried to diminish you. You are stepping into a season where your presence becomes undeniable, where your purpose becomes visible, where your journey becomes elevated beyond anything you have imagined for yourself. This is not wishful thinking. This is not blind optimism. This is alignment, not random, not accidental, but earned through every moment you chose to grow instead of giving up. Chosen ones, the universe is not finished with you. The universe is only beginning to reveal what it has long prepared. And when the world finally sees the bigger picture, they will understand why you had to walk the path you walked, why you had to pass through the storms you passed through, why you had to remain quiet while the destiny worked in secret. Stand tall, stand ready, stand open to what is unfolding, because your story does not end in misunderstanding, it ends in revelation. And the revelation is this: you were never alone, you were never small, and you were never forgotten. You were chosen, and now the world will finally see why.